I've played tons of NES games, and by playing them, I've experienced a fairly broad range of emotions, stemming from, oh wow, this is fun, whimsical, and something I'd let my kids play, to, what god did these developers piss off? In some cases, it feels like there really isn't an in-between. I did make a video a while back about my top 10 most relaxing NES games, ones I'd recommend for those who just want to play casual games, maybe ones you can beat. But by definition, the opposite of relaxing is stressful. And I do have 10 games in mind that in my opinion are the most stressful games on the NES. I do want to say there are many games that are common with my most difficult NES games episode, and I'm not doing that on purpose. Instead, I'm aiming to talk about the emotional and cognitive response of my body while I'm playing these games. Finally, this is a community voted episode, so thank you to every single firefighter here on YouTube who helped make this video happen. Let's begin. Mega Man 1 was an interesting game, really hard as well. It was a brave idea from Capcom, designed by Akira Kitamura, Takashi Nishiyama, Nobuyuki Matsushima, and of course a plethora of artists, the most well-known being Keiji Inafune. Also, shout out to the composer, Manami Matsume. But no matter how much you might like Mega Man 1, it wasn't commercially successful at all, especially in the United States. I mean, look at this box. It doesn't scream, holy shit, this is a game changer. It screams, Mom, where are the blueberry muffins?
Damn it, Gerald, I told you to get out of your costume. That Halloween was 5 years ago.
You can't tell me what to do, Mom. I'm 45. Now, I'm not the best at platformers because I feel most of the difficulty in platformers, especially in the 80s, stems from gravity or from developers offloading tons of nonsense your way. And Mega Man as a franchise was always like that. These stupid ass respawning enemies that just keep coming, and it feels like you're taking mandatory damage from them, and you're trying your best to remember what Robot Master is weak to what power-up because your usual method of figuring out the nonsense, Nintendo Power, wasn't there. Nintendo Power did not cover Mega Man 1 until issue 224, and that was to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the franchise. Now, Mega Man 2 was covered, literally, but there were no hints for it. Mega Man is a challenge in persistence, adaptation, and in some ways trial and error, but as stressful as it is to me, it's a great start for a legacy franchise. For years, I've avoided playing this, and it's because I'm a huge fan of shoot-'em-ups, and every time I see this game show up on my list, I ponder domestic terrorism, usually in the form of sending a picture of my butthole to Kevin Edwards, who programmed this game. Silver Surfer is a horrible game, and it deserves the reputation it gets, but if you're me, then you have to try to see it through, right? The one good thing about this game is that the universally transcendent composer Tim Follin wrote the music for this, and it's an absolute bop. The sprite work really isn't that bad either. The key issues align with just how difficult this game is. You're contending with background elements that should be foreground elements and foreground elements that should be background elements, so naturally you avoid everything just to see that one of these elements are actually the other, and you run into it and you die. You've got enemies coming at you faster than a virgin on prom night, and my little fingies don't move that fast. Not being able to contend with enemies of all varieties coming my way has been a trend for games that end up on the fucked off list. Games like Twinbee, Star Force, Star Soldier, and all of those are vertical shooters, so it's not just isolated to horizontals. This game stresses me the fuck out though, always has, and I'm sure playing it on stream won't be any better. This game boggled me. If you're like me, you thought this game might be a role-playing game. I mean, Wizards and Warriors, at least the character type, stemmed from pen and paper RPGs, or the cover of your mom's sexy time book she slams shut when you tell her that you pooped yourself because you thought it was just a fart at 11 p.m. But no, what we have instead is a very counterintuitive jumping game. That's how the first one was. We would jump around like an asshole, getting slapped around by mandatory damage, wondering where to go, and occasionally fighting bosses. We could open up chests and get replacement items, and to me, it kind of wasn't that bad. It wasn't fun, but it wasn't bad. Then I tried Ironsword, Wizards and Warriors 2, and I quickly learned that everything I hated in the first game not only wasn't fixed, it was worse. Ironsword is a counterintuitive jump fest, but hey, now there's slopes! Holy shit, what a time to be alive! I played the first level for at least 2 hours and made zero progress, so it got the fuck off treatment. No, I don't particularly care to go back and do it again. This is one of my moderators, Divine Shadow _18's favorite game from his childhood. I had never heard of it before, and I recognized the name of the company, Broderbund, because they were huge in my childhood. Zoombeanies was on the computer at school. While I remember the Oregon Trail way back when, this was the era where I actually cared to play games on the school computer. But when I booted this game up, I realized this is one extremely long maze. That's it. No more, no less. You basically deal with one of the worst trial and error memorization pathways on the way to the top to deal with the towers, and once you get there, good luck. It almost feels like it's pure RNG to actually survive this game. I tried my damnedest to beat this, save states included. Nothing was going to save me from the bullshit that this game puts you through. I'm talking terrible hitboxes, dreadful music, uninspiring artwork, and generalized buffoonery. I get why this game might have some charm, but that charm is a desert oasis. From afar, it looks great. Get close, it's just dirt. Crappy, shit-filled, dry dirt. If you want an exercise in tedium, Deadly Towers will stress you out. This game harmed the deepest fibers of my conscious existence. It broke me open, stepped inside me like some transcendent out-of-body Doctor Strange experience, told me to go fuck myself, and then took a piece of my spleen and floated away, flipping me off. There's this rare style of artwork that you can recognize a mile away, so I was naturally drawn to it. It looked like Cobra Triangle and Battletoads, so I was excited to check it out. And it's a shooter, which we all know that's my favorite genre. Then I actually played it. The way it works, we fly an airplane. Cool, we can change altitudes. Even better, Zaxxon did that. But hey, those controls, inverted. Not a big fan. But hey, while we're at it, let's sling out some borderline impossible to dodge enemies and place terrain everywhere that kills you. I really wanted this game to be awesome, and it had the potential to be awesome. It was one of the first Milton Bradley published games I had ever checked out, and it slapped its nuts across my face. It's not hard, it's tedious. And tedious hard is stupid. And because you try to understand the buffoonery, it tilts you. It raises your blood pressure. Fucking horrible game. Can't piece of shit. God damn. Oh boy, a vertical shooter! Yay! Fuck no. This is not fun. This game is a lifestyle choice, an experience in what not to do in a vertical shooter. For a long time, I thought Xanac held the record for the most infuriating experience I ever had in a traditional vertical shooter. No. Star Force. And while we're at it, let's throw Star Soldier on here as well. They're both related anyway. Star Force itself is an arcade game from Tekhan, who would eventually rebrand to Tecmo. Hudson Soft created their own game, Star Soldier, and many folks consider it to be a spiritual successor. Now, what makes me angry with this game is counterintuitive programming. Our spacecraft has a dual cannon, and we can shoot things that come our way. That's normal. What isn't normal is the speed and pathing by which they take. The enemies in this game are relentless. They are swarms of nonsense with absolutely no predictable pattern. There's no shields, no bombs, no special abilities, and guess what? No continues either. This is oftentimes considered one of the hardest shooters on the NES, and for good reason. It gives you no room to breathe. Oh, and by the way, if you don't kill the boss in time, hope you're ready to do the whole level again. Yep, that's the thing. Gradius is a game that I talk about often, and in my opinion, Gradius was the golden standard for well-designed horizontal shooters, even though I prefer vertical shooters. So to have a horizontal shooter that actually brought me joy, that's a huge plus. Now, Gradius is a great game, and the big thing that made it stand out is that we can pick up power-ups and apply those to specific abilities, be it speed up, a shield, extra external guns, lasers, etc. It's a great system, and other games have taken aspects from it. But where it gets stressful to me is that you almost need to play a perfect game, because if you die, you lose all of your power-ups, and those do matter. Because the way the game was ported is very faithful to the original arcade game. You're always on the edge of your seat, praying that something won't hit you, or that you won't make a simple mistake and just brush up against the death zones on the roof or at the bottom of the stage. And with Gradius, Konami tended to place you in situations where it's very easy to hit those obstacles. It's not uncommon for Konami to try to force you to fly through tunnels, and that alone is stressful as hell. Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3 are all rite of passage games on the NES. It's up there for incredibly difficult games with addictive mechanics. Ryu can slash, he can wall jump. It was pretty dope. I'm not going to deny that, but Ninja Gaiden unfortunately is patient zero for literally everything I hate about the NES. There's pits of doom, infinitely spawning enemies, knockback physics, pseudo continues, tons of nonsense that really irritated me. But it's not an impossible game to beat. In fact, if you were to practice and you built that muscle memory, it's actually shockingly easy to get through it. You just have to know what's coming. And trial and error is usually a recipe for a bad time, at least for me. Now, all three of the Ninja Gaiden games are harder than a guy watching Olympic volleyball for the sport. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not going to say that Ninja Gaiden is a bad game. It's one of the best on the NES. It's just a breeding ground for anxiety for me because I hate the tropes. They kind of ruin my time. And we only have so much time on this planet. I'd rather not spend it hacking away at cheetahs who are coming at me nonstop in a snowy mountain. I was told to check out this game from a few of the viewers on this channel because it's a very novel game from Rare. And if you've watched my videos before, you know there's one thing I cannot stand, and it's the isometric perspective. I don't like pretending the camera is off in the corner of the universe looking down on the action. It's like watching a movie but you're sitting on a bookshelf in the corner of the room. It makes no sense to me. But everyone said, snake rattle and roll will change your mind. And I'm here to say, no the fuck it didn't! Snake Rattle and Roll is like the final boss of isometric platformers. It's one of the most fundamentally frustrating games I have ever played. The artwork in it throws you off because you think you're making jumps. You aren't. Plus it's got that quality control scheme made popular by the limp dick nose having gigachode Qbert, where right isn't right, it's up and right. Imagine taking all you know about controls from gaming and throwing them out the window. It makes this game a really bad time to me. Now I understand some people might find it fun, but to me it's an isometric nightmare. A nightmare! And it was teabagging my hippocampus the whole time I was playing it. Literally every time I tried to jump and I died, I felt a thump in my brain, little rare nuts slapping against my limbic system. It's a tough game to get used to, and it's stressful because you're not only dealing with that control scheme, you're dealing with time pressure, which is a sin of gaming, especially in the 8-bit era. If you showed me a picture of Jimmy Seville and a picture of Battletoads for the NES and asked me to choose which one fucked more kids in the 90s, I'd choose Battletoads. I consciously avoided playing this for a long time. Then the Twitch community figured out that by making me play games from the company Rare, eventually after we cut through the fat, we'd arrive at Battletoads, which as you all know is one of the hardest games on the NES, if not the hardest game on the NES, which is a shame because to me, if the difficulty had been a little bit turned down, this would be one of the best games on the console to me, at least in the top 100, if not top 20. But the difficulty of this game is atrocious, and in some ways it just fucks you. The whole challenge stage set, like Turbo Tunnel, Rat Race, Klinger Winger, they're all bullshit, just USDA Prime bullshit, and you'll fail so many times, and no, it won't be fun. I know people have a raging boner for this game, but damn man, you feel helpless while you're playing it. You almost have to play a perfect game, and I'm not about that, at all. This hands down is the most stressful experience I had on the NES, period, dot. And that's it for today's episode. What did you think of this list? What games stressed you out as a kid? Feel free to tell the community down below. Who knows, maybe someone will share with your frustration. Speaking of our community, if you made it to the end of this episode, you're already home in our community. We're a gathering of video game enthusiasts that love remembering a time when life was just a little bit easier to live. And if you align with that, feel free to subscribe. Finally, the single most important thing you can do for me is to hit that thumbs up button, as it directly aligns with the visibility of the videos and the projects that I work on every single day. As always, from my family to your family, good energy, good vibes. Fortefyre out.